right, good morning everybody. Mike here from Northeastern Dirt and Property Maintenance. Beautiful morning this morning in Northeastern Ontario. It was only a couple days ago. It was -5 to -10 degrees up here, and we had 3 to 4 inches of snow on the ground. Have a look at it now, right there. Today we're supposed to be up to a high just today, and the temperature's supposed to float back down. 8 degrees today, 7 to 8 degrees. The weather was nice yesterday, so I've been working on a little project. I've been wondering about door flashing above these doors in the shop. That's one job I had to get done, but I had no material to make flashing. I don't have a brake to bend flashing, to make nice bends in the metal. I don't have a sheet metal brake, so I thought, I called somebody and they never got back to me, so I just thought, forget that. But then I thought of something, and I'll show you what I've been working on. I had two of these leftover panels right here. I had two of these cover panels left over, and they've already got the bends in them for the profile of the building, and I thought, how can I use those to my advantage without screwing around and trying to call somebody to do some work for me to have the metal bent. So here's what I ended up doing. I took these cover sheets. I had two of them. They were, and the good metal was sandwiched between them, so they are scratched up cover sheets a little bit, but that's fine. So what I ended up doing, I'm making door flashing for over these doors, so I split one of these guys right in half. And the profile is already there, the bends are there, except it's full of bolt holes, which is fine. So I cut it in half, and here's what I ended up with right there that I'm working on. If you look at that, not perfect by any means, but you know what? It's door flashing, and it's going to work good. So I split that in half, and I fastened it to the front of the building on the door header. And what I did was I pilot drilled all the holes into the door header, and I used the roofing screws with a rubber washer on it, and I banged those right through the door header to hold that on there. And as you can see, it's not perfectly centered on the seam either, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. I got to do a little bit of trimming up on it yet, and I'll get that going. But all those holes, I'm going to put bolts in there to kind of give it that finished off look. You won't see the bolts, and that's what I'm working on right now. And then also, where the flashing meets the Quonset building in behind there, of course, there's going to be a crack because you're not going to get a perfect seal. So I went and I got some good Mulco window and door siding silicone, and I'm just going to run a little silicone bead in behind there on the crack between the flashing and the building, just to seal that right up so when that water comes down, because without this door flashing, I had an immense amount of snow and rain coming off the building, going in behind the doors and going inside the building on the concrete floor. Every time bad weather would come, I would have a 2-foot wide strip where the water would drip in, and the water would just kind of spread all over the floor, probably 2 feet wide every time it rained, depending on the amount of rain. So I go, no good. It was driving me a little bit ballistic. So I got on that. So that's what I'm working on this morning. I got it up yesterday, and now I'm going to put some bolts in there and go from there. And I'll just keep chipping away at this. And of course, all this issue stems from me not wanting to spend $5,000 to $6,000 on a nice insulated segmented roll-up door, which I'm not going to do, not until these doors fall off the building, whatever. And I just refused to pay the money during COVID, and I didn't want to spend any more money on this shop. So that's the reason why I made my own sliding doors, and I just kind of went out on my own to do my own thing here. I'm not paying that kind of money for a door. Not now anyway. Maybe down the road when I start making some real money, that's fine. So anyway, that's where I am right now. So and we'll see where we go here. Oh, and this ladder, this Featherlight ladder, believe it or not, I was doing a cleanup and grading job for somebody who was selling their house up here. And I did a cleanup and I graded for them and everything. And when I was all done, the job, The fella basically gave me this Featherlight step ladder. It's almost brand new, along with a whole bunch of other things because they were selling the house. And they just had so much stuff they didn't want to move it. So sometimes you get a good deal. And I got a good deal on this Featherlight. She's brand new. So it just gives it the finished off look when you put these nuts and bolts in here, that's all. And stops the water from dripping through the holes. And with this building kit too, I have so many extra nuts and bolts. I have probably a quarter pail. So I'm going to try and plug every single hole in here wherever I can reach. So anyway, you guys get the idea. I'm going to put the bolts in there, and it's just going to fit in there nicely. And we'll go from there. Now there are a couple bolts up here, a couple holes that I'll have to put silver silicone on up here, back in here, because I'll never get a bolt in there too close to the front wall. So I will have to use some silver silicone, but that's just the way it goes. And I thought I better take advantage of this nice warm weather. Well, I can. All right, so I'm kind of done with that flashing for now, and it's warming right up here. It's probably around noon, and I'm going to show you something else in this Quonset building, you guys, that I had a hard time with. So I flashed over the door, not the world beater of a job, but you know what, it's going to work. I put bolts in all the holes. So I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. So I flashed over the door, but another problem I had in this Quonset building, kind of irritating, I laid down that butyl caulk, as you guys could see, when I put this building together. That caulk, no matter what, under those base plates, it did not stop that water intrusion 100%. Water was still getting between the concrete and the base plate. So, as you can tell, here's what happens. It's getting windy. So, water would, in a few spots along the base, all the way along, too many for my liking. It was irritating. So, water was getting underneath the base plate. So, what I did was, and I'll show you on the other side, but you can see how it gets in. What happens is, you get rainwater coming down the Quonset building. It goes onto the base connector, base plate. It comes down. It comes down the base connector, the base plate, and through that capillary reaction it comes down and around the lip of the base plate back underneath, and it migrates into the building in certain areas. I mean, this building's not perfectly built, but it was far too much water intrusion for my liking, and it was irritating. And this is how you get it. See how we had the snow and the rain and everything, and it's constant moisture along the side of this building trying to get in. So as you can tell, what I did this fall, have a look. I tarred the concrete around this building. I tarred on the outside with roofing tar all the way around, and I'll show you on the other side. So I tarred with roofing tar underneath the lip of the building. Where the lip comes over the concrete, I tarred underneath that to get rid of some of that water intrusion. And I went all the way along the building before the snow came early this fall, and I tarred all the way around the building. and just to get rid of that water. So I figure, you know, it may not be ideal. And then I ran the gravel up against it, and I'm not done yet. I still got to backfill. But I backfilled all of this with gravel after I tarred it. And it makes a world of difference. Right there, it made a huge amount of difference. But mind you now, it is a bit unsightly from the outside. So with the backfilling, anyway, you kind of cover that up. I got more to do here, but I got a lot of it done. So now the water not only grades away from the building, the tar on that concrete and that base plate really makes a huge difference. But you can see where, if you look down this building, look at how that snow piles up all winter. And then you get the thawing days like today, and the rain's coming down on top of this wet snow. It just makes a mess. So that's what I did for water intrusion. So I flashed above the door just now, finished that up, and then earlier in the fall I tarred around the building. It just had to be done. Underneath this overhang on the lip, it's tarred underneath there too. So I did a bunch of different things to this building to try and help with water intrusion, and I still have to do a little more grading in the front here. I got a lot of it done, but I've been steady just picking away at it. Okay, you guys, so that's a few things I've done to this Quonset building to just help with the water intrusion and kind of keep things under control. All right, thanks for tuning in, and I'm just going to keep puttering around outside in these nice days like this. Okay, I'll talk to you later.